2018 Formula 1 season started with Nico Hülkenberg taking pole narrowly ahead of Sebastian Vettel by only 16 hundredths of a second. The German's teammate was only a tenth behind him in third, and Robert Kubica made a great return to F1 in fourth. Lewis Hamilton did the same lap time but later in the session to line up fifth, just ahead of Fernando Alonso, who lined up sixth in his McLaren. Apex was only 3 places behind his much more experienced teammate in 7th, and Sergio Perez was a massive 7 places behind his teammate on pole. Valtteri Bottas and Stoffel van Dorn mimicked their teammates in row 3 in their order, and Daniel Ricciardo pipped Max Verstappen on row 6, but the whole row was Red Bull. Moving on to 13th place was Carlos Sainz, just ahead of Esteban Ocon by only a few hundredths of a second. Their debutant teammates lined up just behind them in row 8. Pascal Wehrlein in his 3rd season in F1 lined up 17th, pipping the debutant of Sergei Sorokin in the Williams. Looking onto the back row now, in 19th place we have Charles Leclerc from Monaco, just narrowly beating Lance Stroll on the last place of the grid. Hey guys, it's me again. I don't often do commentaries at the moment, well I don't often do videos at the moment because I just haven't had the time and I haven't had a good race in AOR. I think on my channel you can see all of my race around Monza, and you can also see the lag fest I had in Austria, so I've been a bit put out of making league racing videos. But I wanted to make this series to show off the mod, and I wanted to actually do the series after I'd put out the mod onto Race Department finished, but that has taken such a long time with league racing and exams and everything. But if you look in the description, there will be a link to the Race Department page where you can download it, and please do, because that mod has over 800 downloads and I'm absolutely just amazed by it. That's more downloads than I have views on my channel. Moving on to the race, it's 5 lights. And it's lights out and away we go, and Nico Hülkenberg gets a pretty good start, as does Kimi Räikkönen on the clean side of the grid. He's probably going to be pressuring his Ferrari teammate as the 2 McLarens look to go down the inside at turn 1. We try and make a lunge on our teammate but doesn't quite pull off. He tries to go around the outside of the McLaren of Fernando Alonso, who's had a brilliant start as always, as he goes round the outside of Kimi Räikkönen for 3rd place. It looks like now Robert Kubica might just be trying to go around Kimi Räikkönen, but he doesn't be able to do it. We make a lunge because they brake so early into turn 4. Can we make a double overtake here? No, it flashes yellow flags, so we don't really know if we can overtake. We try and go down the inside of our teammate into turn 5. Through turn 6, we pull up around the outside. Do we? No, we're still side by side. We go into turn 8. And we just get the move done on the brakes. But it's still side by side. No, the move is done as we head down into turns 9 and 10. At the end of the chaotic lap 1, Hülkenberg leads ahead of Vettel, ahead of Alonso. Here we can see on lap 1 what's happening here. It looks like Sergio Perez has been spun round. That's not good for the Mexican there. He's in last place, but he does have a very good car, especially in a straight line, so he should be able to make his way back up the field, but he's a long way behind last place. Now we move on to lap 2, and we can see Kimi Räikkönen is trying to make a move here on Fernando Alonso. He's got the no DRS at the moment because it's only lap 2, and he goes down the inside of turn 1. He squeezes out the Spaniard, and the Spaniard now is going to get a poor run through turn 3, so can we do anything? It doesn't appear so. In the background, our teammate Robert Kubica is going side by side with Lewis Hamilton and Stoffel van Dorn. Here's how it happened. As you can see, Hamilton is in the slipstream of our teammate and tries to go down the inside of turn 1. As you can see, there's a bit of a lock up there into turn 1. I don't know who that was. Robert Kubica tries to stick it through turn 3 though, and he's doing a good job of it, of holding on to this place. And now you can see Stoffel van Dorn is having a go at it. Can he make the move down the inside? No, Hamilton looks like he's got it through the middle. Has Van Dorn got the place on Kubica? No, he hasn't. He's going to have to sit behind. As it looks like Valtteri Bottas is trying to see if he can pick up any places from anyone that loses out in this battle. Moving to lap 3 now. Alonso, having been squeezed out, is now further behind the train in front. As you can see, Kimi Räikkönen is maybe thinking about a move on his teammate. But because of its lap 3, we have DRS on Alonso. Kimi Räikkönen sets the fastest lap of the race. And here we go, we're pulling to the outside of Alonso. Can we make it on the brakes? He's still going to stick it down our inside, but he doesn't have the traction on the exit. And now we can push on to try and get a podium. Also, it looks like Kimi did make the move on Vettel, so it looks like we could be pressurising him into turn 4, but we think about it and we couldn't quite get the move done. Here's that move from Räikkönen. Räikkönen had so much more speed than his teammate with the slipstream and the DRS. He makes the move down the inside. There's a bit of contact there, but it appears that Vettel cut the corner a little bit and just didn't get a good run out of turn 3. Here we are onto the end of lap 4, and it looks like we're going to maybe try and use Räikkönen to our advantage again, as he's moved Vettel down position now, and he's moved him closer to us. As we are in his slipstream with DRS, can we make the move? We're going to try and round the outside of Vettel like we did around the outside of Alonso. On the brakes, we do it much easier than we did on Vettel, but no, because Vettel tries to hang it in there, but he once again also gets squeezed out. Here we are on to lap 7 now. It's quite a jump, and both Hülkenberg, me and Hamilton are all making pit stops. Hülkenberg, I believe, goes onto the soft tyres. It might be the super softs, but Hamilton goes onto the softs. But we're thinking about going onto the mediums because these super softs have run out really quickly on our Renault. So it's something that the team may need to look at, maybe making the suspension a bit softer on the tyres. But we did manage to just narrowly get out ahead of Lewis Hamilton. But the field is so close that we're actually rejoining in 19th and 20th, right at the back of the field. So we're going to have to try and push on to try and get this undercut to work against Sebastian Vettel, who we do stay ahead of in this stint. Here we can see the Sauber teammates going at it, with Charles Leclerc trying to make the move on Pascal Wehrlein. Can he do it? He makes the move down the inside, Wehrlein sticks it around the outside. This is a great battle between the two Sauber teammates. Leclerc is trying to go around the outside of turn 3, which leads to the inside of turn 4. Down the inside he goes on Pascal Wehrlein, but Wehrlein doesn't want to give up this place, but neither does Leclerc. This is a great show by the debutant and F2 champion. Is he going to make the move? Yes, he does. He makes the move around the outside there. And into turn 8 we go, and he is ahead of his teammate, and looks like he's going to be keeping that place. Into turn 9 now. Can Perez do anything at the back of this train? Or is that Hülkenberg? No, that is Perez. Perez has obviously been stuck in this traffic and he hasn't been able to make his way up. Does he have any damage maybe from that turn 1 incident or something? Perez now is on the back of that Force India. He's had to brake there because of how slow they're going. Also, that Audi does have a little bit less downforce, but you don't really need downforce through those section of corners. He is now setting up the move though on the Force India as his teammate goes for a move down the inside of the Toro Rosso. It's nearly 3 wide there as we go into the final corner. Perez makes the move on the Force India. I think that's George Russell. Now he might be making a move on Pascal Wehrlein. No, he's going into the pits. Going into the pits, as does the Force India and the Toro Rosso there. Here is Sebastian Vettel coming out of the pits, just ahead of Valtteri Bottas. Can we get the place just ahead of the Ferrari? It's going to be really close. We go into turn 1, but we get him on the brakes. Lewis Hamilton might be trying to get past the German, maybe. No, it doesn't appear that he can do so. We move later on into the lap now, on lap 9. We're just behind Sergei Sorokin, who still hasn't pitted. We get a bit sideways out of turn 10, but we have the DRS, and that Mercedes engine in that Williams is not as good as the Mercedes engine used to be. Can we do it around the outside? What a good move that could be. Yes, it is. It's a great move around the outside of Sorokin. As you can see, there's a bit of revving out of the engine because of the downforce going off in that corner. Here comes Sebastian Vettel now, trying to get past Sorokin on the same lap. He's thinking about it down the inside of Sorokin. He makes the move, but so does Hamilton. Hamilton now on the back of Sebastian Vettel. Can Hamilton get the move done? He's in the slipstream. He's now got DRS. Vettel may have DRS from Sorokin, yes he does. Can Hamilton get the move on the Ferrari, which should be faster in a straight line, but it appears that Hamilton got a better run off the corner and down the inside he makes the move on the German. The German is also on those red super soft tyres, so you would think he'd have an advantage. Valtteri Bottas now is trying to go down the inside. Does Vettel have any damage? Does he have a problem? Who knows? He actually loses out on the place to Valtteri Bottas. Now could the Red Bull behind of, I think that's Daniel Ricciardo, try and make the move on Vettel? His old teammate, remember, Red Bull back in 2014, so there is no love lost between these two drivers. As well, there is Stoffel Van Dorn behind, or is that Fernando Alonso? I think that's Van Dorn behind this train, who could even make a move on Vettel. All three of these drivers, though, are on the super soft tyres, and as we move on to the end of the lap, there could be a move coming. That Red Bull doesn't have a very good engine in it, but it's still managing to keep up with the Ferrari, and it looks like it might even make a move down the outside of the final corner. No, Vettel sticks it in there through turn 15 and now onto the final straight. They haven't got a very good exit, so could Van Dorn possibly make a move? And here comes Robert Kubica. They are 4 wide going into the first corner. There's loads of weaving everywhere. Now Fernando Alonso, it was actually Fernando Alonso, he's gone from third in this train to the lead, and Kubica has gone from last to second, and Vettel's gone all the way to the back, and Daniel Ricciardo ultimately actually gained or lost no places in that entire scrap. Here we are onto another lap, and Valtteri Bottas is trying to challenge his teammate of Lewis Hamilton. Both these cars are on the same tyre strategy, it would appear, just one lap offset. Valtteri Bottas tries to make the move, but Hamilton is having none of it, and it looks like he's going to keep the place ahead of his teammate. Mercedes may have had a bit of a word on that, considering that Hamilton's probably considered the number one driver in this team. Here we are, and Fernando Alonso is now caught up to the back of Valtteri Bottas. Can he make the move around the outside of turn 1? Maybe he can. He's sticking it down the inside of turn 2, but he gets hung out there. Oh, and there's contact. Alonso's lost a bit of front wing there off the back of Valtteri Bottas. Will the stewards have anything to say with that? I think it was personally a bit of a racing incident there, and I don't think there was any cause for any action. But here comes Robert Kubica in the background, maybe possibly trying to feed on any scratch from this battle. Can Alonso make it round the outside? Yes, he can. What a move! However, this has allowed Lewis Hamilton to pull away from this train and maybe focus on trying to catch me. At the end of the midway point of this race, Kimi Räikkönen is in first, ahead of Nico Hülkenberg. We're sat in third place, just ahead of Lewis Hamilton. Fernando Alonso is in 5th, with Valtteri Bottas in 6th. In 7th place is the pole of Robert Kubica, and in 8th is Daniel Ricciardo in his Red Bull. In 9th place is the other Red Bull of Max Verstappen, just ahead of the McLaren of Stoffel Van Dorn in 10th. In 11th is the man who qualified 2nd, Sebastian Vettel, narrowly fending off the Toro Rosso of Carlos Sainz, who's having an amazing race, as well as Esteban Ocon, who's only narrowly behind the Ferrari in 12th. The Sauber of Charles Leclerc is in 13th, just ahead of Sergio Perez in 14th. The other Toro Rosso of Pierre Gasly is in 15th, with the Force India of George Russell is in 16th. Here comes the other Sauber of Pascal Wehrlein in 17th, and the two Williams drivers at the back of the field in 19th and 20th. We appear to have lost a car somewhere. That's a bit odd. I don't know where we've lost a car here, but we have. On to lap 16, and as you can see, having to do a bit of fuel saving with this very thirsty Renault engine has left us vulnerable to Lewis Hamilton here, and also he's on soft tyres, so maybe he's using those to his advantage to catch up. And now with slipstream and DRS, he is trying to make them, as you can see, we're in lean mix because we're trying to save as much fuel as possible to try and get to the end of the race. And it looks like Lewis maybe he's going to make the move. No, wait, yes, he's made the move. Onto lap 19, as you can see, he has pitted. and we are making our pit stop now on lap 19 to try and get to a pair of soft tyres, I believe we're going on to try and fight back. We're going to soft tyres because the super softs just died very quickly, which means that our teammate Robert Kubica is staying out and he is leading the race on his return to F1. It'd be amazing if he got winning his return season to F1. As you can see in the distance there's Lewis Hamilton going into turn 1. Can we get ahead of his teammate Valtteri Bottas, who had a big undercut on us? Yes, we still keep the place ahead of him and the 2 Red Bulls. Can we now try and fight on to try and get ahead of Lewis Hamilton? That will be our goal for the next few laps. And here we can see Valtteri Bottas. What's going to go on here? Because Bottas is having a fairly alright race down in 5th place. Only a few places behind his teammate. But going into turn 5 and turn 6, there's an engine problem. Oh no! An engine problem for the Mercedes. That's not good for him. He's had such a good race, and like real life, he's not having a very good season here. Now on lap 25 we come on board to us, and now we're pressurising Lewis Hamilton. As you can see, we're still in lean mix because we're trying just to get to the end of the race. I know you can see on your screens that I'm plus on fuel, but it's just not very good with this engine. But with DRS and slipstream, there's no hope for anyone in this race. Just DRS and slipstream and you just get past your opponent no matter what engine you have. Even if you have an Aston Martin engine, you can get past even maybe a Ferrari. Probably not an Audi, because they're very fast this season, but definitely a Ferrari or a Renault engine car. But now as we cut later on to that lap even, quite embarrassingly, we look up into turn 10 and Hamilton gets a chance now down the inside. And as you can see, look, the Red Bull there is catching up to us, with Robert Kubica in the background trying to catch up to those 2 Red Bulls, but Lewis Hamilton just sticks it down the inside there of turn 11. I mean, it was quite an annoying thing, looking up into turn 10. I mean, I know it's a common thing, but it's not an area you want to be doing, especially when you're being pressurised by a Mercedes. So now it looks like at the end of the lap we're going to have to try and redo the move on the Mercedes driver and the last year's world champion. Do not forget, this man is a 4-time world champion. It's not an easy thing to be battling with. But with slipstream and DRS, we're a bit further back this time than we were last time we made the move. But now coming into turn 1, we stick it down the outside, try and go round turn 1. But he is having none of it, and we try and get the traction down, but we have to pull out the throttle there because of the traction. So now we have to go in the slipstream, heading out on the run to turn 4. We have to think about maybe tugging to the slipstream. And as you can see in the background there, those cars going 3 wide, and we make the move into turn 4. We wash out a bit wide. Can Hamilton make the move? We go a bit off track there, but I don't think the stewards have much problem with it. And so we try and stick it through 5th gear and into this complex, and job done, and it looks like we might be keeping that position for the end of the race now. As you can see, the 2 Red Bull drivers now squabbling over what is 5th and 6th place, if I'm not mistaken, with Verstappen behind Ricciardo, but Verstappen is on those softer tyres. And maybe now with slipstream and DRS, like I was saying, it's very easy to pass around this track for some reason today. And can Verstappen maybe... Yes, Verstappen, no Verstappen. Yes, Verstappen. Verstappen makes it around the outside. I said Verstappen so many times there. Oh, and as you can see now, as the camera cuts away a little bit, but now Robert Kubica is trying to make the move, and Daniel Ricciardo gets washed out, which means Verstappen goes down the inside. The camera cuts away as Nico Hülkenberg is making a pit stop. Oh no, on the last lap of the race. This was on lap 28. He's having to make a pit stop. So those medium tyres, as you can see, were actually quite warm when he rode on board there. He was quite warm medium tyres, meaning he's going to have to go on soft tyres, and he can't even get the fastest lap as resolution because it's the last lap of the race, which is such a shame because he qualified on pole and he was running in P2. He was on track for his first podium of his career. Oh no, for the Le Mans winner. And it looks like he's going to come out just behind that train that you're just looking at, and actually that's just ahead of his teammate Sergio Perez, who's had an amazing drive to get back into the field. But that means that we are promoted to P2 on the grid, so after battling with Lewis Hamilton, we take P2. So here we are with the results. Kimi Raikkonen took that win at a massive 18 seconds ahead of me in second. Lewis Hamilton was only 8/10 behind me, which I didn't actually feel for the last few laps. I felt quite good. Maybe I was celebrating over the line or something. But Lewis Hamilton rounds off the podium. Robert Kubica stays where he started. People have gone up and down around him, but he stayed in 4th, which is a good return drive, I have to say. Max Verstappen in 5th, just ahead of Daniel Ricciardo. Those Red Bulls came very strong in the race. Stoffel Van Dorn in 7th. Very solid race for McLaren, who've had very tough seasons recently. Nico Hulkenberg and Sergio Perez. Audi could have done a lot better, especially with Hulkenberg in 2nd. Perez making a good return drive. And also, obviously, Esteban Ocon making a very good drive to score points in that Force India, which is very slow this season compared to a lot of the cars. So to get a point in that car was very good this race. As you can see in the Drivers' Championship, there really isn't much to talk about because obviously it's exactly the same as the standings that you just saw after the race, because it's round 1 and everyone has the championship place that they finished in the race. On to the Constructors' standings, and as you can see, with a great drive from Robert on his return to F1 and a solid drive from me, Renault, our team, are at the top of the Constructors' standings with 30 points, just a little bit ahead of Ferrari, who obviously only had 1 points finish, although it was the biggest points finish and the best points finish you can have in F1, obviously being, well, in anything, is they won. But in 3rd, you got Red Bull, who I think after qualifying everyone thought was the 6th best team, but in the race they came good, especially on a track with many straights. You wouldn't have put a bet on them to finish 3rd overall in terms of teams. Obviously Mercedes as well had problems with Bottas, so they probably would have been a lot higher on the points tally, probably 2nd. McLaren, solid, I have to say, after the Honda fiasco. It's a solid performance to be in 5th with 6 points already and a P6 on the grid, and it's been a good race. Audi, I have to say, are very unlucky, getting spun out at turn 1 and recovering to 9th was a good job by Perez. And Hulkenberg, I think if I was in his position I would have stretched it and suffered with a puncture. If it came to it, I may have even finished slightly higher if I got a puncture, but I think Audi definitely deserve to be higher. I mean, it's hard to say because the top 11 in qualifying are covered by half a second, which is just mental to have that small of a margin. It's very hard to say who's best. I mean, it's probably a race by race basis. This track has a lot of straights, and Audi we know are very good, but when it comes to Monaco and I don't know about Spain, but maybe somewhere like Silverstone's very high speed, but somewhere where there's lots of corners, then they may not be as good as well. And Force India, I mean, solid job getting a point, which could end up being crucial by the end of the season, so who knows what could happen with them. Please, guys, thanks for watching the video first of all, but please go in the description and check out the mod on Race Department, and if you enjoy it, leave a good review. If you don't enjoy it, then by all means leave a bad review, but if it's because of a bug or something, don't just leave a bad review and expect me to then go and fix it and get back to you by just telling me that it doesn't work. Try and go into the support section instead of leaving a review, because that way you can leave a more detailed response and I can reply and we can have a conversation, or PM me on Race Department, because that works as well. And I've had many conversations with people and tried to fix it. Sometimes it doesn't work because I've just been a bit blind, I have to say, because there's only one of me and it's very easy for me to miss things. But I've tried as much as I can to help people, and if you download the mod and there is a problem, please let me know, because I don't want the mod to sit there and just people not be able to use it, because I created this mod for career mode to be better. Because I've spent 5 years doing career mode now, and only this year I've actually got into competitive F1, and so for the past 5 years I've basically only been doing career mode, and it does get boring. I mean, 2016 was great because you got to be in a car like in the midfield like a Haas or something, and you got to fight at the front, and that was all well and good, and so you got a bit of competitiveness, and also teams did actually switch around a bit, whereas this is just the same teams are in the same order. So I've tried to get cars very close on performance, so even though on the bars on the right of the screen they may not be as close as it says they actually are, when like, upgrades come, say there's a team that does 2 or 3 upgrades, that could jump them up actually quite a way, because 2/10 in lap time here in the top 12, that could be the difference between 11th and 2nd. Just 2/10. That's a massive gain just with a small amount of lap time. So please consider checking out the mod. It would mean a massive amount to me. It's got so many downloads, which is already amazing. Sure, all of them are, not all of them are stable versions, but also just bear in mind that it doesn't work in any language apart from English, French or German. Don't know why I chose those languages, but they're the 3 languages that I've gotten around to, just because I haven't been able to have the time to change all the names in all the other languages. But yeah, please check out the mod. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.